New covenant, new people, new temple, new city. Many believers are still waiting for the new covenant to come to fruition, for new creatures, for old things to become a thing of the past, and for all things to become new. They are waiting for a new creation, a new temple, and a new city. So, be careful, hold on tight, take off your traditional religious seatbelts, and listen. According to the Hebrew apostle, Paul, this is how I would express a small excerpt from his second letter to the people of Ephesus and confirmed with the vision of the revelation to John, which took place in the 1st century AD, and which continues to be accomplished. How can you still be ignorant of this message, and who come from peoples and nations outside of God's alliances, made with the ancient Hebrew people that he had chosen for himself? It was only yesterday, already 2,000 years ago, that you, strangers to the ways of God, had no idea of all this and knew nothing of the way in which God would do his work. You didn't have the slightest idea of Christ. You knew nothing of this rich history of the covenants and the promises of God in Israel. You had no idea what God had done in the world at large. Now, for the sake of Christ, the promised Messiah died, shedding his blood, also for you, who were once completely beyond everything. But since then, you've been involved in everything. The Messiah arranged things between us, the Hebrews, so that since then, together on this point, we have been both foreigners and Hebrews of the people he had chosen. He had torn down the wall and the veil that kept us at a distance. He removed the code of law, which had become so heavy with precepts and cumbersome notes that it hindered more than it helped. Then he started again. Instead of continuing with two groups of people separated by centuries of animosity and suspicion, he created a new people, with a new beginning for each, in the promise of the new covenant. Christ, the Messiah of Israel, brought us together through his death on the cross, and brought us together as one body. This was the end of the hostility. He came and preached peace to you strangers, and peace to us, the Hebrews, whom he had chosen for himself. He treated us as similar, and thus made us equal. Thanks to him, we both share the same Spirit and have equal access to God the Father. It's pretty clear, is not it? You are no longer exiles and wanderers. This spiritual kingdom through faith is now your spiritual land, your homeland, your dwelling place, your spiritual home. You are no longer strangers or outsiders, but fellow citizens set apart and servants of God. You belong here. God has built his dwelling, his holy city in his body, his spiritual temple living as well on earth as in heaven. John had already seen it, because Jesus Christ had revealed these words to him also 2,000 years ago, since he had written, "The tabernacle of God with men, and he will dwell with them, and they will be his people, and God himself will be their God, and he will be with them." He uses all of us, regardless of how we got here, in what he is building. He used the apostles and prophets for the foundation, as John had also described. The city had 12 entrances, and at the gates, 12 angels, with the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. The city, a spiritual dwelling place, with 12 foundations, and the names of the 12 apostles of Jesus Christ were written thereon. Now he is using you, building you, stone by stone, spiritually, with Jesus Christ as the living cornerstone, in whom the whole spiritual edifice laid and improved together, rises, which is the holy temple in the Lord. You are built together to be the spiritual tabernacle of God in the Spirit who dwells with us. Also, his spiritual kingdom grows every day, on earth as in heaven, and for eternity.